Good day, everyone. Welcome to lecture number 21 of Theory of Computation. And in this particular lecture, we will be discussing an important topic, and that is the simplification of a context-free grammar. Okay. So in any context-free grammar, or we can say in any grammar, so there are some production rules and those production rules are useless. Okay. Or we can say some production rules are redundant, repeating, doing the same thing. Even some symbols, or we can say the variables, non-terminals. Okay. Non-terminals are also called variables. So these are also useless. Okay. So if we have a grammar G, and in this grammar there are production rules, and this grammar is generating a language, let's suppose L. Now in this grammar, in these production rules, we want to remove these useless rules, these redundant rules, or I can say useless symbols. By removing these symbols, these rulers, and all other things that are useless, we will derive a new grammar, G dash, with new production rules, P dash. However, the language will not change. That means this particular grammar and this particular grammar, they will be equivalent. What does that mean? Two grammars are said to be equivalent if they generate the same language. Generate the same language. So what I am saying in the simplification of a context-free grammar, if we have a context-free grammar, from this context-free grammar, we want to generate a new grammar by removing the useless, redundant, and other symbols from these production rules to generate new set of production rules. However, the language generated by these two grammars should be same. So this particular grammar, G dash grammar, is the simplified grammar, or it is also called a reduced grammar. Reduced means that all these redundant symbols, useless symbols have been removed. This grammar is called a reduced grammar, and this is reduced from this actual grammar G. And these two are equivalent. That is, language of G is equal to language of G dash. And the only difference is that this G dash is the reduced grammar. Reduced grammar means it has been simplified. It is the simplified version of G. Version of G. Okay. And we need a mechanism to find out how we can simplify a context-free grammar. So our aim in this particular lecture is to discuss how to simplify a context-free grammar. So that means if we have a grammar G, we need a new grammar G dash. That is a simplified grammar. And for simplifying a grammar, we have to follow 3 steps. The first step is we have to remove useless productions. Okay. Second is we have to remove epsilon transitions. So epsilon transitions are also called lambda transitions. Okay. And the third step that we have to do is remove unit productions. Unit productions. So these are the 3 steps that are required to simplify a grammar. So after completing these 3 steps of a grammar, the final grammar that we get, that will be a simplified grammar, or we can say that will be a reduced grammar. So let's discuss each step separately and see how we can remove useless productions and what are useless productions. Likewise, we will discuss step second and step third. So let me first write the first one, that is remove useless productions. Okay. So let's first discuss this step, how to remove useless productions. Okay. So what are useless productions? So first we have to understand what are useless productions. So useless productions are those productions which do not take part in the derivation of any string. In the derivation of any string. So we know that every grammar generates strings, terminal string. Okay, and useless production will be that production which do not or which does not take part in the derivation of any string. So that means it is of no use. Okay, fine. Like useless productions, we have useless symbols. So what will be useless symbols? So like unit useless productions, we can say useless symbols will be symbols which do not take part in derivation of any string. Same definition. Okay. Now a symbol, useless symbol. Useless symbols are of two types. One is called a non-generating symbol. Non-generating symbol. And another useless symbol is called non-reachable symbol. So let's discuss what is non-generating, non-reachable. Then we will see how we can remove useless productions. So first, what is non-generating? Okay, non-generating, or it is also called a non-terminating. Non-terminating symbol. Fine. So a symbol is called a non-terminating or non-generating if it does not generate a terminal string. A terminal string. So for example, let's take an example. For example, let's say S is equal to A and A is equal to B is equal to B gives B, let's say. So here you can see that this A, let's take this terminal, A terminal. So is it possible to generate? So here we have three symbols, three variables, S, B, and A. You can see, is it possible to generate any terminal string from A? No. So A is a non-generating symbol. Likewise B, likewise S. So from S we can generate AA, but A is a non-generating. So that means S is also non-generating because it will not generate a non-terminal string. So S is also non-generating. B, what about B? So B generates B. So that means B is a generating symbol. It is generating because it generates a terminal string. Or you can say, for example, if it is S gives AA or AB, then after adding this production rules, is S useless? No, S is not useless. Why? Sorry, S is not non-generating. Why? Because S generates AB and AB internally generates So instead of B, we can write B. So that means from S, I am able to generate one string, and that is AB. So in that case, S is a generating symbol, or we can say it is a terminating symbol. It generates a terminal string. But A is a non-generating symbol or non-terminating symbol because it does not generate a terminal string. So if it does not generate a terminal string, so A is useless or A is non-generating if A is non-generating if A if A gives W is not possible, where W belongs to sigma star. That means W is a terminal string. So then it is called a non-generating symbol. Now comes the other concept, what is non-reachable. So what is non-reachable? So if there is some symbol which is generating, what does that mean? If a symbol is generating means that it generates terminal string. But if this generating symbol is not reachable from start symbol, from S. So even if it is generating a terminal string, but it is not reachable from S, is this symbol of any usefulness? No. Why? Because it generates a terminal string, but we won't be able to reach this particular symbol starting from S. So it is of no use. So this kind of symbol which is not reachable from S, this symbol is called a non-reachable symbol. Okay, is called a non-reachable symbol. So here in this, let me write an example. So let's suppose this. So here you can see B. B is a generating symbol. Why it is generating? Because it generates C. C is a terminal. Okay, terminal string. But this B, is it possible to reach to B from S? So sorry, is it possible to reach B from S? No, it is not possible. Okay, so if it is not possible to reach to B from S, is this symbol of any use? No, even if it is generating a symbol. So this symbol B here is a non-reachable symbol. So that means you can see from here both non-generating symbols and non-reachable symbols, they are useless symbols. They are of no use. They are useless symbols. So we should remove such symbols. Remove such symbols means remove productions, or I can write that these symbols are called, so what I am saying that these symbols are useless symbols. They are of no use because because there are some symbols that are non-generating, they are not generating the terminal strings. Even if some symbols are generating, they are not reachable from start symbol, so they are of no use. So these symbols are called useless symbols, and the productions that contain useless symbols are called useless productions. Okay, and those symbols, what I am saying, those productions that contain useless symbols are called useless productions, and we should remove such productions. Fine. So let me give an example here. Let me write an example. For example, S is A, B, S, or A, B, A, or A, B, B. Okay. And A is C, D, B is A, B, and C is D, C. So here this is capital C, this is small c. Small c is a terminal, capital C is a non-terminal. So in this example, first is, so what we want to do, we want to remove useless productions. But we have to first find out what are useless productions. So useless productions are those productions which contain useless symbols. So which contain useless symbols. And in useless symbols, there are two types of useless symbols. One type of symbols are called non-generating, and another type of symbols are called non-reachable. Okay. So first is always first find non-reachable symbols. Sorry, non-generating symbols, or they are also called non-terminating. So let's find non-terminating, non-generating. So from here, you can see which one are non-generating, or we can say which one are which are non-generating. So here, for example, you can see that B is a non-generating. So B is non-generating because B, there is production, this B gives AB, and there is no other production that involves B. So that means B does not generate or do not generate a terminal string. Generate a terminal string. So B is non-generating. Okay. So B is non-generating. Fine. Any other symbol that is non-generating, A is generating because it generates this terminal string. C is also generating because it generates DC. S is also generating. Why is S generating? So for example, you can see S gives ABS. Okay. Then we have, or I can write it S gives. So let me write S gives ABA, and then A can be replaced by this rule. So it will be ABCD. So S is generating this string, terminal string. So that means S is also a generating symbol. So only symbol that is non-generating is B. B is non-generating. Okay. So for example, here, when I am generating a string, for example, this and this is called a sentential form. So that means when we are generating from a start symbol, there are multiple sentential forms. Okay. So B is non-generating. So when B is non-generating, as I have said, that means it is a useless symbol, and the productions that contain useless symbols are useless productions. So in which of these productions contain this particular symbol? So this particular symbol is contained in, so let's say this is rule 1. So rule 1, it can be written as this one. So it is S gives ABS, S gives ABA, and S gives ABB. So let's say this is rule 1, this is rule 2, this is rule 3, this is rule 4, this is rule 5, and this is rule 6. Now, which productions contain B? So B is contained in rule 3 and rule 5. So the productions, the rules that contain this useless symbol, these productions are useless productions. So we should remove these productions. So remove these productions. What will be the new grammar? The new grammar should have these rules. S gives ABS, S gives ABA, S gives, sorry, A gives CD and C gives DC. Okay, so these will be the productions that will remain, and all these useless productions will be removed. So this is the first step, that is find non-generating symbols and then remove those useless productions that contain non-generating symbols. Second is find non-reachable symbols. Non-reachable symbols. Non-reachable means the symbol that cannot be reached from the start symbol. That means if I have a start symbol and from this start symbol, I can derive different strings or different these. So here, this is sentential form, this is another sentential form, this is another sentential form. So if there is some variable that does not exist in any sentential form, that means that symbol cannot be reached from the start symbol, and that symbol is non-reachable. So now we have these rules. These are our rules. And from these rules, we have to see which are non-reachable symbols. Non-reachable means the symbol that cannot be reached from the start symbol. Non-reachable variables we have to find. How many variables are there? S, A, and C. Is A, S is reachable. So because it is a start symbol, S is reachable from itself. A, is A reachable from S? Yes, because we can use rule. So let's suppose this is rule 1, this is rule 2, this is rule 3, this is rule 4. Now, for example, use rule 2, we will go A, B, A. So that means A is reachable from S. So A is reachable from S. Now, which one remains? C. Is C reachable from S? Is it possible to reach to C from S? No. Okay, so C is non-reachable. So that means C is useless. Useless symbol. So if this is useless symbol, so the production is containing C. So which are the productions that contain C? Production R4. So this production will be a useless production. So we have to remove this production. Okay, which production? R4 production. So after removing this production, what will be our grammar? The grammar will be ABS slash ABA and ACD. So we have removed the productioners. We have removed non-generating symbols or non-reachable symbols, or we can say we have removed useless productions. Fine. So that means the first part is completed. What was the first part? Remove useless productions. And how we have removed useless productions? We found out useless productions by first finding non-generating symbols and then finding non-reachable symbols. You should always first find non-generating symbols and then remove useless productions. Then the second step should be find non-reachable symbols and remove useless productions. You should not interchange these. Interchange means that you should not first remove non-reachable and then non-generating. This order should be maintained. Okay. So this was about the removal of useless productions. Now comes the step second. What was the step second? We said that for simplifying a grammar, we have 3 steps. Remove useless productions. We did this. Now second step is remove epsilon transitions. Now let's discuss how to remove epsilon transitions. So the second point is the removal of epsilon productions, which are also called lambda productions. Okay, so we have to remove these productions, epsilon productions. So any production of this type, A gives epsilon. Okay, these are called epsilon productions, and we have to remove such productions from the grammar. Fine. And these productions, epsilon productions, should be removed from those grammars that do not generate epsilon. Or we can say we can remove epsilon productions from all the grammars. However, if we want that my grammar should also generate epsilon, then we have to do something else. We will see what we have to do, but you should keep in mind that the removal of epsilon production should be done in all the grammars. Here I am writing that it should be done only on those grammars that do not generate epsilon, but keep a general rule: you can remove epsilon productions from all the grammars. Now, after removing epsilon productions, you won't be able to generate epsilon. So how will we then generate epsilon? We have to do something else to generate epsilon as well, and I will discuss that later on. Okay. So the first thing for removing epsilon productions is to find nullable non-terminals. So the first job is to find nullable non-terminals. So which are nullable non-terminals? Terminals which can generate epsilon in 0 or more steps. Okay, those terminals are called nullable terminals. So if there is a rule in the grammar A gives epsilon, then by default A is nullable. Now let's suppose now another rule is B gives A. So you can see B, we can write B as A, and A can be rewritten as epsilon. So that means B generates epsilon in 1 or more steps. So B is also nullable. And let's suppose C is A1, A2, okay? And C is also nullable if both A1 and A2 are nullable. Okay. So for removing epsilon productions, what is the first job? First job is to find nullable non-terminals. Okay. That is the first job that you have to do. You have to remove all the nullable, you have to find all the nullable non-terminals. Now, what we have to do after finding nullable non-terminals, you have to add. So let's suppose our productions were P. So these were our original production rules. We have to generate new production rules. Okay, such that in these production rules, we should not have these epsilon productions. So what we have to do, we have to add all productions. So all these productions which are in P should be added in P dash, but with some changes. So we should add all productions as well as combinations of productions that can be formed by replacing the nullable variables by epsilon. I will make you understand this. Okay. And also remember, we should not add any A gives epsilon production. Okay. So let me make you understand what I am saying here. So let me give an example here. So I will make you understand with the help of example. So let's say this is our grammar. S gives A, B, C, D. So S, A, B, C. So these are non-terminals, which are S, A, B, and C. Okay. Now A gives, this is another production rule, BC. B gives BB and epsilon. C gives CC and epsilon. Also, so non-terminals are S, A, B, and C. The terminals are, so what are the terminals? The terminals are B, C, and D. These are our terminals. Okay. And from this grammar, we have to remove epsilon productions. So how will we remove epsilon productions? That means we have to get new set of productions. So this was our P, and this is, we have to get new set of productions such that in this set there should not be any epsilon production. Any epsilon production means that there should not be this kind of production. So you can see here in this grammar, there are two such productions. One is B gives epsilon and another is C gives epsilon. And we have to remove such productions. Okay. And what is the procedure? The first step is find nullable variables, or we can say nullable non-terminals. Okay. Variables or non-terminals. So you can see here. So B is a nullable non-terminal because B gives C, because B gives epsilon. So B is nullable. C is also nullable. Now you can see A is B, C. Since B is nullable, C is nullable. So A is also nullable. This is nullable, this is nullable. So which are nullable here? Okay. In this grammar, we have nullable are, one is A, another is B, another is C. These are nullable non-terminals. Okay. So this is the first job. Fine. Then what is the second thing? What we are saying here? So after finding nullable non-terminals, we can generate new production rules. So what will be the production rules? Add all productions. So we should add all productions in P. So what are the all productions in P? So in P, the productions is, one production is S gives A, B, C, D. Another is A gives B, C. Another is B gives B, B. Another is C gives C, C. But you have to remember, we should not add these productions, which are null productions, okay, which are epsilon productions. So we have added all productions except epsilon productions. And what I am saying, add all productions as well as combinations of productions that can be formed by replacing the nullable variables by epsilon. So it is saying that not only you have to add these productions, but you have to add all other productions that can be formed by replacing nullable non-terminals with epsilon. For example, in this production, so this is our production. What are the different combinations of productions that can be formed from this by replacing nullable non-terminals with epsilon? So let us replace A with epsilon. So the production will be S give us. So A is epsilon, there will remain B, C, D. Okay. Now let us replace B. Instead of A, let's replace B. So it will be A, C, D. Let's replace C. It will be A, B, D. Let's replace A and B by epsilon. It will be C, D. Let's replace B and C. So it will be A, D. Let's replace A and C by epsilon. It will be B, D. Let's replace all three, 1, 2, and 3, A, B, and C by epsilon. It will be. So these are the additional productions that we have to add. So what additional production is? One is B, C, D. Okay. Another is A, C, D. Another is A, B, D. Another is C, D. Another is A, D. Another is B, D. And another is D. Okay. Likewise in this one. So we have A gives BC. So what are the productions that can be generated from these by replacing nullable by epsilon? So one is A gives, if we replace B with epsilon, it will be C. If we replace C with epsilon, B. If we replace both with epsilon, it will be A gives epsilon. But this one should not be added. Why? Because we want to remove such productions. So the new productions will be C and D. Likewise here, another production will be D. And here, another production that will be added will be C. Small c, it is small c. So this will be a new set of production rules that will be generated from these productions, and these production rules do not have an epsilon production. Okay. So what we have to do first, find, so for removing epsilon productions, what we are doing first, find nullable non-terminals. So we should first find nullable non-terminals. Then what you have to do second is to generate new productions without epsilon productions. Add all original productions as well as combinations of productions that can be formed by replacing the nullable variables by epsilon. So from those original productions, you have to replace all combinations of non-terminals, nullable non-terminals with epsilon, and generate new production rules and add those production rules as well. But you have to remember, you should not add such kind of productions. So this will be a grammar with no equivalent grammar. So this will be an equivalent grammar with no production, no epsilon productions. Okay, fine. So this was the second step. Now the third step for simplification was, third was removal of unit productions. Removal of unit productions. Okay. So what is a unit production? A unit production is a production of this type. A gives B. This is a unit production. Here we have non-terminal generates non-terminal, single non-terminal. So this is called a unit production, and we will remove such productions, removal of unit production. Okay. So how can we remove unit productions? Let's suppose these are our productions, original. Okay, fine. So these are productions that contain both unit productions. Unit productions means productions of this type and non-unit productions. So it contains both unit productions and non-unit productions. Let's name the unit productions as P1 and name non-unit productions as P2. And now from this grammar, we have to generate new grammar, P dash. Okay. So this P dash will contain all these non-unit productions, P2, all these. These should not be there in this new P dash. But by removing these productions, we may have to add new productions. So we may have to add new productions. So what will be these new productions? Okay. So how will we generate these new productions? So let's see what are these new productions. So what we have to do for every pair of non-terminals, every pair of non-terminals, A comma B, such that A generates B in one or more steps, directly generates B in one or more steps. For every such pair, we have to add, so this new P new will contain a rule. We have to add this kind of rule. A gives beta if B gives beta is in P. So if in this P we have a rule like this, B gives beta, then from this rule we can also add, we have to add this rule as well, A gives beta. Okay, so let me explain it with the help of an example. Let's say this is our grammar. So let me write a grammar here. So let's say it is production rules are, instead of writing the entire grammar, let's write only production rules. S gives A comma B, A gives B comma B, B gives A slash A. Okay. So as I said, I will divide this P into two types of productions, unit productions and non-unit. So you can see which are unit productions here. The one unit production is S gives B, another unit production is A gives B, and another unit production is B gives A. And what are non-unit productions? Those are S gives AA, another is A gives B. So this is non-terminal, this is terminal. When both are non-terminal, then only it is called a unit production, and B gives A. So what will be our P dash? This P dash will contain this P2. P2 means it will contain S gives AA, A gives B, B gives A, and P new. So what are P new? So what I am saying, for every pair of non-terminals. So how many non-terminals are there? 3, S, A, and B. So for every pair, so one pair is SA, another pair is SB, and another pair is SA, SB, another pair is AB. Okay, you have to write there repeated as well. Repeated means in reverse as well. Another pair is AS, another pair is BS, and another pair is BA. Now let's take each pair one by one. So let's take this one. So you have to check if this generates this in one or more steps. So is it possible to generate A from S in one or more steps? So you can see S generates B. So from this production, you can see S generates B, okay, and B generates A. So that means this production, this is true. So if this is true, this is true. Then if there is B gives beta. So what is B here? A. So if there is A gives beta in P, in P. So this is our P, or you can see in P dash. So instead of saying in P dash, you can say. So if there is A gives beta in P dash, so is there any production of this type in P dash? Yes, A gives B. A gives small b. So if there is this kind of production, then we have to add this kind of production. So that means we have to add S gives beta. So instead of beta, what is there? B. So we have to add this production as well. S gives B. So this is S gives B. So this one is completed. Now you have to check S gives B. Does S generate B in one or more steps? Yes. Here, S generates B. So in P dash, I have to check if there is any such production. B gives beta. Is there any such production? Yes, B gives A. So beta is A. So I have to add this production as well. S gives beta. So instead of beta, I have S gives A. So I have to add this production. Now this A gives B. So A gives B in one or more steps. Is it possible here? Yes, it is. A gives B. So now I have to check if there is any production of this format in P dash. Is there any production of this format in P dash? Yes. B gives A. So I have to add A gives A as well. So I have to add this as well. Now this is completed. This also completed. This one completed. Now A gives S. A gives S. So is it possible to derive S from A using these production rules? No, it is not possible. Okay, so this one is not there. So we will ignore this pair. B gives S. This one is also not there. B gives A. You can see that this is possible. B gives A using one or more steps. Here in P1, you can see B gives A. Okay, so B is generating A. So that means now I have to check, is there any production of this format in P dash? Okay, so is there any production in P dash? Yes, there are two such productions. One is A gives B and another is A gives A. So because of this, I have to add B gives B, and because of this, I have to add B gives A. So I have to add these two productions. So B gives A is already there. So I won't add this, but I have to add B gives B as well. Okay. So this will be our new set of production rules. And in this set, there are no unit productions. And this will be the equivalent grammar of this P. Okay. So what we are doing here, we are first dividing these into two groups, unit productions and non-unit productions. We are adding all non-unit productions to the new set of rules, and then we are generating new rules, and those new rules are generating by using this particular, by keeping in mind this particular scheme. Okay, so with this, we have completed the simplification of context-free grammars. So let me repeat it here. Let me summarize it here. So simplification of context-free grammars we were doing. So in this, you have three rules for simplifying a context-free grammar. So the first rule is removal of useless productions. So this was the first rule. And for removing useless productions, we have to understand what are useless productions. So for understanding this, first we find out useless symbols. So what are useless symbols? Those are of two types. One is non-generating symbol, that is a useless symbol, and another is non-reachable, that is also a useless symbol. And the productions containing useless symbols, productions containing useless symbols are useless productions. Okay, and we directly removed such productions. That was the first step. The second step was removal of epsilon productions. Okay, and for removing of epsilon productions, all productions of this type are epsilon productions. So how we were doing it? We were first finding nullable non-terminals. Okay, after finding the nullable non-terminals, we were, so the new productions contain all original productions plus combination of productions that can be generated, or we can say that can be formed by replacing nullable non-terminals by epsilon. And do not add these kind of productions. Okay, so this was for removal of epsilon productions. And the third was removal of unit productions. And for removal of unit productions, what we were doing, we were dividing the productions into two parts. This was unit productions and these were non-unit productions. Then our new production set will contain all non-unit productions plus p new, and those p new will be generated for all pairs of non-terminals. And I have already discussed is how to generate these p new. Okay, so these are the three steps that you have to keep in mind while simplifying a context-free grammar. However, there is an order in which we have to apply these rules, in which we have to apply these rules. So there is an important order. Okay, so what is the order? The order is always remove epsilon productions first. Okay, so let's suppose our original production rules were p. So after removing epsilon productions, so let's suppose we got new production rules as p dash. Okay, so this is the first step. Second, what you have to do, from this p dash, remove unit productions. So from p, we have removed epsilon productions to generate new production rules, that is P dash. Now from this P dash, remove unit productions. Let's suppose we got new productions as P double dash. So this P double dash will have neither epsilon productions nor unit productions. Then the third is remove useless productions. So useless production is from this P double dash. So in removing useless production is, you have to first remove these using by finding non-generating symbols. Okay. Finding non-generating symbols and removing those productions that contain non-generating symbols. That means from this P double dash, we have to remove these symbols to get new production rules, that is P triple dash. Now from this P triple dash, you have to remove those productions which contain non-reachable symbols. And finally, we will get a grammar that will have these production rules. P 4 times dash, or you can see P final. So this P final, so our P final, this does not contain epsilon productions nor unit productions and nor useless productions. And this final grammar containing these production rules, let's suppose our grammar is G final, this will be equivalent, this G final with P final as production rules will be equivalent to an original grammar, equivalent to G with production rules P. Equivalent means that the language generated by this G final will be same as language generated by G. And this G final will be a simplified grammar, and this is also called a reduced grammar. And this reduced grammar will not generate epsilon. So you have to keep this in mind. It will not generate epsilon. Now let's suppose this grammar, the grammar that we were using, let's suppose this was generating epsilon as well. In that case, our language of G final will not be equal to language of G because it is not generating epsilon. So what you have to do, you have to do a simple thing so that your G final will generate epsilon as well. So what you have to do is that you have to add a new rule. Okay. So that means you have to add a new rule. S1 gives epsilon and S1 gives S. S was our original this start symbol. Now S1 will be new start symbol. Okay, and by adding these two extra rules to our reduced grammar, we will be able to generate epsilon as well. Okay, so you have to keep this in mind. So with this, we have completed the simplification of context-free grammars. Okay, and you have to remember, always apply this rule first, remove epsilon productions, then apply rule second, that is remove unit productions, then remove useless productions. Okay, so this order is to be maintained. Order is to be maintained. Otherwise, you won't get a simplified grammar. Okay. So now let me give you some homework for using these rules so that you can simplify a grammar. So let me write a grammar here and you should simplify the grammar. So the example that you should try out is that, so you have a grammar with these production rules. S gives S1, S2. S1 gives A, B. S2 gives C, D or epsilon. A gives B, C or B or epsilon. B gives A, B, B slash epsilon, and C gives C, C or C or epsilon. Okay, so in this set, our non-terminals are S, S1, S2, S, S1, S2, A, B, and C. And terminals are B, C, and D. So this one is capital C. This is also capital C, and this is also capital C. So these three are capital C's. This is also capital. Okay. So you have to simplify the grammar. Fine. So with this, I will stop this particular lecture here. So in this lecture, we have completed the context-free grammars. And in our next lecture, we will start the normal forms. What are normal forms? Basically, we will be discussing two kinds of normal forms. One will be Chomsky normal form, and another will be Greibach normal form. So we will discuss these normal forms and what is the importance of these normal forms. So let's meet in the next lecture. Till then, good.